It has only been a little more than 3 months since I shared my last Empties video with you. Look at me sticking to my quarterly schedule. Not only does that please my inner organization freak, it also means that the video is not going to be hours long. Fingers crossed you won't have to sit through more than 10 minutes looking at my trash. Due to your request, I did include more body care into the mix. I'm not going to show you my toothpaste, but creams and stuff I use on my body get a mention. As always, all of the products have a dedicated review up on my channel already that you can find in my quick skincare reviews, so I will keep it short here and just give you a summary. Hi, I'm Dr. Anne. I'm a medical doctor with a passion for skincare that works. On this channel, we explore the science behind skin and do quick reviews so you learn to pick exactly those products that work for your individual skin concern. So if this is something you're interested in, please consider subscribing and ring the notification bell. Let's start with the skincare step that comes first in most routines: cleansing. I don't always double cleanse and I don't always cleanse in the mornings either, but the hotter it gets, the more oily my skin is, even though that has been much better in the last years than it was in my 30s. For oily skin people, aging has some great benefits. For mornings or after a sweaty workout, I love cleansers like the Good Molecules Rose Water Daily Cleansing Gel. It is not rose-colored but slightly yellow, feels slightly cooling and foams up only lightly, resulting in a refreshing, non-stripping cleanse. Even though I did not fall in love with it and will not repurchase, it is a very nice product that will work very well for normal to oily skin types, even the more dehydrated ones. Don't be put off because I said I won't repurchase. It's a great budget-friendly option. I am just a cleanser snob that expects to really get excited about a product in order to consider repurchasing. It is not recommended to be used around the eyes, so I used a different product for makeup removal, something like the Clean 10 Cleansing Balm. If you watched my review on this one, you might remember that I love how well it works, how hydrated yet clean my skin feels afterwards, and the fact that it smells like lemonade. What I did not like specifically is that in the Clean 10 approach there are no dedicated preservatives, as the brand participates in the no parabens, no whatever marketing strategy. I don't like that marketing approach and I don't want to risk contamination in my product, so again, I will not repurchase. What I might possibly repurchase is the Pixi Retinol Jasmine Cleanser, which, as I realized when making this video, I never did a proper review of. I don't think anyone would want me to do one now. If I'm wrong, tell me in the comments below. So here is my 5 cents. The most important thing first, this does not contain retinol. It contains retinyl palmitate, an ester that is presumably so weak that it has no retinoid effect on the skin at all. Other than that, it has humectants, gentle surfactants, and some ceramides. What I love most about it is the texture, like a firm shaving foam. Feels great when you spread it over the skin and rinses clean with minimal foam. It works well enough at removing light eye makeup, but not on waterproof mascara. I like it as a gentle and pleasing cleanser, not because I expect anything from the retinol that it features in the name. Moving on to the next category, toners and face mists, with the usual disclaimers. No, you absolutely do not need them for a good routine. Yes, I do love the extra step and will continue to use them. I have talked about the Purito Centella line at length on my channel already, and the Purito Centella Unscented Toner is by far my favorite. I like that it has a slightly thicker texture than your average watery toner and feels really hydrating and soothing. Will be repurchased for the winter. For the summer, I love my Kapitel grape water, mainly because it's the opposite in texture. It has the finest mist you can imagine, can be used on top of makeup as refreshment, and is hydrating and has extra antioxidants. I always stock up when I'm in France, so it already has been repurchased. The first empty in the serum category is again one that has no dedicated review. The Simply Pure Hydrating Serum. This one is not available in Germany, but only in the UK, and was sent to me by my friend Dorota, better known as Beauty Drama Queen, on her blog and on Instagram. Honestly, she does a ton of these Insta makeup things that I admire but would neither attempt nor wear. The serum is lovely, hydrating and very affordable, so if you are in the UK and need a simple hydration booster, check it out. Again, in the category of hydration serums is the Purito Centella Unscented Serum, which is also really nice, but it not excite me as much as the corresponding toner, so I personally will not repurchase. It did get a lot of love in the comments under my review though, so you might want to check it out despite that. Hydrating with a twist is the 10 Lux Super Glow. An amazing streak-free gradual self-tanner for the face. I have gone through 2 bottles already and will surely repurchase when I enter the pasty winter phase again. Not that I'm an advocate for tanning in the summer, absolutely not, but somehow I look more alive and less yellow in the warmer months despite the sunscreen I wear. Come November though, you will again find a bottle in my stash for sure. For my peptide fix, I used the Inkey List Collagen Booster, and it contains both peptides from the Matrixyl complex and Syntac, both claiming to stimulate collagen production. In the end, I think I prefer the Ordinary's Buffet Plus Copper Peptide, which is more expensive but still in the more affordable price range. I am still not that convinced by peptides that I would spend a lot of money on them. Moving on to my latest love, the Geek Gorgeous 101 Sea Glow Serum. I have been searching for the perfect ascorbic acid serum for a long time, and this one made me fall in love head over heels. I have already repurchased and given a bottle to both my sisters and my mother, and while I'm currently testing another one for comparison, the Geek Gorgeous option is still my favorite for an affordable, effective and stable brightening serum. The last one in this category is actually more of an oil in texture, the Zellen's Power D treatment drops. Yes, eye-watering expensive, but the bottle usually lasts me around a year, taking into account that I use it mostly between October and May, when the weather here is colder and windy and central heating dries out my skin. I, of course, can't prove it, but I am convinced that it's the secret ingredient to keeping my skin free from irritation when using tretinoin in winter. And this is why I'm already on my 5th bottle. I couldn't find it on the website though. I think they have repackaged / reformulated. I will let you know. Now for moisturizers, where I have only 2 to show you. The Moonshine Miracle Balm from the same company that makes the Clean 10 Cleansing Balm. This is a face cream / primer hybrid with pore blurring properties and really make my skin look smoothed out when I wear it on its own. But as I usually just wear sunscreen in the mornings, it's not something that I will repurchase. The Inkey List Peptide Moisturizer, on the other hand, pleasantly surprised me as it is much more lightweight than I expected it to be, and I adore the pumped down packaging that I'm used to seeing in higher priced brands only. The peptides that lend their name to the product are acetyl hexapeptide 37, apparently increasing skin hydration, and pentapeptide 48, claiming to increase elastin production. As I said, I'm not willing to spend a lot of money on peptides at the moment, so a lovely moisturizer that has them as an add-on is right up my street. Oh, and because someone pointed out on my original video that they are only present in low concentrations at the end of the ingredient list, that is right, but peptides are never used in high concentrations as they don't need to. This is more of a nighttime moisturizer for me, as in the mornings I rarely wear cream, but usually rely on my SPF. Speaking of which, I did finish a few of them as well. The Sika Regen Antidust Sun Gel is one that I purchased before it was shown to not live up to the claimed SPF 50. I will, for obvious reasons, not repurchase, but finished it when it was still colder and I spent the day mainly inside. A new one for summer and already finished is the Garnier Ombre Soleil Anti-Age Super UV SPF 50. It is not my absolute favorite in terms of texture from all the ones I have purchased, but you can't beat the value for money. The best sunscreen is the one you actually wear, and as it contains the same amount of product as the other ones, but is the only one already empty, it seems to be the one that I reach for the most. I already repurchased. One that I used up on my neck and décolleté is the Istin Pediatrics Fusion Fluid SPF 50. For a long time, Istin was my main sunscreen choice, but in February 2020, Euroconsumers, an independent testing institute similar to Valisure, released their data claiming that 15% of the European sunscreens they tested around 120 products, did not meet the claimed SPF. And in case of Istin, it was an SPF of 15 rather than the claimed 15. It did not catch as much attention as the Korean beauty sunscreen gate later that year, but as Lab Muffin Beauty pointed out in her video on that topic, these things happen more often than we are led to believe and are not a K-beauty problem. But back to the sunscreen here. Istin reformulated a few of their products, but somehow I've been sticking to other SPFs for my face ever since. Now onto the category that you requested I show more of. I happily will, but it is the part where I spend the least amount of money and thoughts on, so don't be disappointed. Body care. I purchased the Alverde Body Butter Macadamia for my dry legs, but quickly ended up using it on the rest of my body as well. Alverde is a German drugstore organic brand that I purchase at DM. I don't care about the organic claims, but it sinks in quickly, is easy to distribute, and has a subtle warm scent that I loved in the Shea body butter from the Body Shop, which is around 8 times the price. This is probably my 10th tub. I wish they did a bigger size. I also tried the Balea Body Cream Shea Butter plus Argan Oil, which is even more affordable but takes way more work to get into the skin and feels a lot more tacky, so I will stick to the Alverde option. For my feet, it's no secret, I adore the Ombia Made Foot Balm 10% Urea. Urea is not only a humectant but also keratolytic, which makes it great to use in foot products as well as useful for people that suffer from keratosis pilaris. If I get a flare-up of the so-called chicken skin on my thighs or upper arms, a little exfoliation and then this one in a thick layer on top works like a miracle. So yes, already repurchased. Last category, makeup empties, and I am proud to announce that I actually managed to finish 2 eyeshadows. Over the course of the last year, I finally accepted that I am not one to wear fancy, colorful looks, but actually feel and look best in neutral, earthy tones, which is why I've been wearing the same makeup, basically one you see in my videos. And 2 eyeshadows that featured heavily in it were MAC Naked Lunch and MAC Satin Taupe. I already repurchased Satin Taupe, but have a few others similar to Naked Lunch that I will use first before I consider repurchasing. And to the person that took it on them to comment on several videos that I should refrain from wearing shimmery eyeshadows at my age, you can. Moving on to liner, I finished another tube of the L'Oreal Ultra Precision Super Liner. I still like it a lot, but somehow it doesn't stay as black throughout the day as I imagined. They may have reformulated, it might be that my eyes had changed, but I would love to hear your suggestions for an affordable felt tip liner that doesn't smudge and stays dark black the whole day. Lastly, 2 mascaras. The L'Oreal Volume Million Lashes So Couture, which I actually like enough to consider repurchasing. It is great at volumizing without clumping my lashes together, stays put throughout the day, yet is easy enough to remove at night. And this is actually really important to me, which is why the Reviderm Eternity Mascara, which makes my lashes look absolutely stunning, will not get repurchased. Eternity really is a great description here. I need a really hard-working makeup remover to get it off at night, otherwise I will wake up with smears all over my pillow, and I admit I'm just too lazy to deal with that. If I look at the timer now, though, the no longer than 10 minutes did not work out. I'm sorry. If you made it this far, you deserve a cookie. And if you have specific ingredients or products you would like to see reviewed here, you can just leave them in the comments below or head over to my Patreon account where you get a vote on the topics I cover next. I'm going to link to more videos on the screen now that I think you might enjoy, and I'm going to see you all very soon with another one. Bye!